So, ladies and gentlemen, I want you all to shut your traps. Yeah, exactly. To shut the hell up. Yeah, exactly. Shut the hell up and give it up for Terry Provost! Come on! Shut up! Yes! Give it up for Terry!
There he is. The Army of One.
It's great to be here. I've been through some, as some of you may know, I've had brain surgery recently, which is, kind of a unique experience. Some of you experienced it. Not the one person here who's had brain surgery.
Yeah.
I did not realize, I actually thought that February 12th, and this is how out of it I am, I thought that February 12th was Valentine's Day, so I didn't realize that I was reading on Valentine's Day until recently, and whereas I don't have many poems that are really appropriate for Valentine's Day, I do have one that I dug up. And this goes back to when I went to a lot of readings, and there were a lot of women who had just had bad experiences with men reading at these poetry readings. And basically, there were a lot of poems that were, the gist of which were, that no good bastard done me wrong. And, but I never heard a poem from the No Good Bastard. So I figured I would write one. So this is called In His Own Defense, the Bastard Speaks. Don't you want to suffer, baby? Don't you prefer the anger? Don't you need the pain? Isn't the hatred better than the boredom? Don't it feel good having someone to blame? Don't you prefer being stupid? Aren't you tired of being too hurt to be young? Don't you still need the thrill of the moment? Don't you prefer getting stung? Don't you want to be loved? Don't you want to hear the lies and believe? Don't you want me to say that you're beautiful? That I've never felt this way before? Don't you know that I'll love you forever? At least till I've walked out the door. Is there anything better? Is there anything that compares to the limitless possibilities of two strangers on one night who haven't forgotten or despaired? Is it me or the lies you love? Is it me or love and lies? So many times I've never felt this way before, and will again with someone else. And when I'm gone, you can write poems about the anger, redeem the bottle deposits on what we share, and make monuments to my power over you, and make art from how little I care.
Whoa!
If I can get a glass of water, that'd be great.
Mind that bring you a glass of water?
I don't know how many of you know this, but Donald Rumsfeld, before he was Secretary of Defense under Bush, also was Secretary of Defense under Nixon. He actually was he was very critical to losing the Vietnam War. So he has experience losing a lot of wars. But in the interim between when he was Secretary of Defense for both presidents, he was the CEO of a company called Searle. And one of his triumphs with Searle was getting NutraSweet approved, which has been linked to brain tumors. This is called, In the Name of the War on Terror, Donald Rumsfeld Invades My Brain. The map became the territory, and the map of the map was a brain tumor Donald Rumsfeld had invaded. All that NutraSweet. When he wasn't busy losing lucrative wars, he was busy getting NutraSweet and brain tumors into the food supply. NutraSweet and brain tumors is the CEO of Searle. So after the surgery, when the pain was so intense, it just laughed at the morphine they were giving me. I pictured the opium poppies blooming in Helmand province, vast impressionistic swaths of petal red as arterial blood, shimmer swaying in their World Bank irrigation, and the pain was just laughing at it. The Taliban and Rumsfeld were waging the war on terror in my brain. Finally, when they fished the feeding tube up my nose and down my esophagus, when they stuffed the tube to keep my lunch out of my lung, I realized they had rendered me to Guantanamo. Actually, they had extraordinarily rendered the whole world to Guantanamo. Everywhere has now become Guantanamo. It is a world without law, a world without rights, a world of lead-shielded transparency, where everyone is guilty, where everyone either sells drugs or uses, where everyone owns a shiny new brain tumor, where everyone is becoming Donald Rumsfeld. This is a little prosaic, but what the heck. There are times when I wonder if I've ever achieved much, or anything really, anything worth mentioning in my entire life. Remarkably, these times occur most often when I'm applying for a job or working on my resume, which is to say, not so much when I'm just living my life, but most often when I'm trying to express the meaning of my life to others in terms that I think will most duly impress them. It's the business of what ought to impress others, or what they think most ought to impress them. It's exactly at those times that I'm most lost as to the meaning of my own life, which has made me covet a killer resume. One chock full of easily encapsulated nuggets of indisputable achievement, and which has given me a highly acute perceptiveness about what would make for most awesome resume fodder. Who wouldn't be thrilled, for example, to be able to claim, like Valentina Tereshkova of the Soviet Union, first woman in space? Think of how you'd always be surprising potential employers, whetting their interest with the fact that you made it to space nearly 20 years before Sally Ride, and people would never know why Sally Ride's name was on the tip of their tongues, but Tereshkova would be almost anonymous. Tim Berners-Lee, now there's a real jaw-dropper. Imagine being able to line item an entry on your resume. Invented the World Wide Web. via extended and enhanced electronic consciousness accessed by billions of people a day. We're talking Bafo resume material here. It's even to the point where I ponder resume entries for non-human life forms. I think back to those early methane-eating bacteria that first excreted oxygen and think what awesome bullet points that would make. First successful emission of atmospheric oxygen created the sky. We're talking quadruple bold underscored italics here. But for some reason lately, I'm not sure why, the one line item that's been preoccupying me lately is for Vasily Arkhipov. That's right, Vasily Arkhipov. He was an officer on a Soviet sub back during the Cuban Missile Crisis. Unbeknownst to the boy geniuses and turd blossoms at the Kennedy White House, the Russians had succeeded in putting nuclear warheads on their subs by then. And the same submarines that were escorting ships carrying nuclear missile technology to Cuba. Moscow had given authority to the subs to launch their nuclear torpedoes if all three of the officers on board were in agreement that there was an all-out war which would justify a nuclear response. A U.S. ship, while supporting the quarantine of Cuba, dropped depth charges to warn Arkhipov sub away from approaching. Not recognizing this as a warning rather than an attack, 2 of the 3 Russian officers voted to launch their nukes. But Arkhipov said yet. As Thomas Blanton of the National Security Archives put it, quote, "A guy named Arkhipov just saved the world." Unquote. How's that for a resume builder? Save the world. Or would it be better as personally and single-handedly saved the world? Or prevented nuclear Armageddon? Assured the continued survival of human life on this planet, temporarily at least. Maybe it's because the God Squad wackos in the White House these days keep talking about putting all sorts of crazy weapons in space, like putting plutonium up there, or putting giant bundles of kinetic tungsten in space to create Hiroshima-equivalent instant death missiles they call, and I kid you not, rods from God in near-Earth orbit. Maybe it's because they want to build a whole new generation of bunker-busting nuclear weapons. Maybe it's because one of the Pentagon's 10 overarching commands is called Space Command, and the guy in charge of it is named General Lord. Or maybe it's the sound of the words full-spectrum dominance, or the fact that 15 years after the end of the Cold War, the U.S. still has a hair-trigger launch-on-warning posture, meaning that nuclear war could be triggered by a radar glitch. Maybe it's because of all or none or all of these, but lately, the killer resume entry I can't stop thinking about is that one of Archipov's. Save the world. Save the world. Something even those methane-eating bacteria might be impressed by.
Great fun. Good thing you didn't die.
That was a great one. Well done.
I'm patting my resume with that. Me too.
I know.
Oh, I don't know how much I'm going to do here because my voice is still rough. but I'll try a couple more, or one or two more anyway. I wanted to write a poem that was all energy and high mass that continued into the present like a mysteriously endless past. I wanted to write a poem spontaneous as your own skin, closer to you than your own sweat, that begins with the orgasm that made you and touches everyone you ever have or ever will love. A poem for all those left unwritten, amputated by landmines, penetrated by full metal jackets. I wanted to write a poem as dead as a heart donor. I wanted to write a poem that would sting your fingers like a greedy roach, like an aspirin to cure necessity, like a preemptive amnesty for a night of debauchery, as sure as the death of dead certainty. I wanted to write a poem. I wanted to write a poem endless as childhood, danced with a beat, as true as deceit, as fast as concrete, contrite as defeat, transparent as a mirror, mortal as a nun, licentious as a condom, relentless as parenthood, tone deaf as dogma, obscure as volcanoes, obvious as dust. I wanted to write a poem as murderous as reason, unreason, progress, regress, hatred, love, compassion, sex, surreptitious as an earthquake, patentable as the alphabet, Catholic as a dictionary, inadvertent as a wailing wall. I wanted to write a poem that would smash the bell jar of our overeducated isolation and ricochet like an assassin's bullet through the profit centers of mind control. I wanted to write a poem that forgives even racism, like the ignorance that creates it, not to offend and contend, but to amend, end, and transcend. I wanted to write a poem that demolishes every king but the one who lives on in each of us like one of Martin's dreams. But it was a poem I had no power to write. I was lost as a butcher confronting daisies, stupid as a slide rule at an orgy, feckless as a blank check at a funeral, fatuous as a logician refuting metaphors. It is the poem of unachievable dreams achieved, and all the relentlessly mundane redeemed. It is a poem you will live long after I'm gone. A poem we will live long after we're gone, forgotten into wind and fire and a cataract, white water, remembered in being forgotten. It is the poem of the world soul becoming free, whose stanzas we cannot yet read, but know one day they shall be seen. One common soul, our common soul, alive, wrung, free, beyond death's empty toll. I shouldn't, but I'll try two more. Sort of a signature piece. This is a piece that was actually written before September the 11th, 2001. And it's one of the few poems in the English language, I think, that mentions Osama bin Laden by name prior to September the 11th, 2001.
You can put that on your resume too.
Now he's running for president. Oh wait, that's something.
Yeah. Now he turns his back on the flag too. See that? Doesn't put his hand on the Bible, nor does he turn it. Jesus.
And he carries the autobiography of Malcolm X.
I want to be a terrorist because I am tired of being on the losing side. having my rights denied, my opinions and ideas ignored, suppressed, censored, and lied about. Tired of seeing my children mentally tortured, brainwashed, propagandized with sanitized fairy tale, mythologized history, and amplified materialist, material girl misery, advertising a commodified, perfumed, anorexic, narcissistic sexuality. I am O.J. Blade, angry at my sisters being raped, beaten, and mutilated by men, exploding with rage at a system that leaves them powerless and without freedom. I am napalm skin irate at the brutality of a police state shoving plungers up my brother's asses, assassinating duly elected foreign leaders, spraying chemical weapons on non-violent protesters, seeding the earth with the roundup of genetically engineered time bombs, and jailing millions guilty of no crime but pursuing their own happiness. I am Rottweiler Bite, Columbine Trenchcoat Angry, Dahmer Freezer, McVeigh Truck, Osama Bin Laden, Nairobi Embassy Angry, at a system of criminal justice designed to protect the criminals with the biggest stock portfolios. I'm signing up with the terrorists, and I'm thinking, bang! None of your sold-out pissant Camp David PLO, none of your suicide bomb Hamas, none of your pansy-ass tree-hugging, property crime only ELF. No, when I go over to the terrorists, it's gonna be Major League IBM. You know, the people who automated the extermination of European Jews for Hitler? Or what about Union Carbide? They're bought out by Dow Chemical now, but they poisoned tens of thousands with cyanide in Bhopal in India. IMF, now there's some serious terror cred. They finance mass murdering sweatshop dictator heads of state from Suharto's Indonesia to Chile's Pinochet. Or what about the multinational pharmaceuticals corporations holding tens of millions hostage to their intellectual property monopolies on AIDS drugs? But what I dream of is playing for number one, the New York Yankees of terrorism, the sole remaining superpower of terrorism. I want to work for the good old USA and be all that I can be. Talking 10,000 multi-megaton ICBM mass extinction vaporization terror. Dumping enough plutonium in groundwater to poison every last person on Earth. Terror. We got more prison cells than you got young black men. Terror. Talking fuck with our puppet state oil monopolies in the Mideast. Mess with the mobile XIBP shell game we run in the Persian Gulf. And you better have one hell of a big condom, because we're shoving a cruise missile up your ass. Terror. Now, you may accuse me of hypocrisy for wanting to join precisely the people who have driven me to my extreme. But the thing is, with access to just a few of their savagely beautiful weapons, I can do more damage, unimaginably more damage from the inside. And I want to be all the terrorists I can be.
Army of one.
Last one for Valentine's Day.
Serious ditty.
We're going to do a serious Valentine's Day poem here to close on. I want to be the Alfredo of your fettuccine. Hot cheese, creamy and smooth, pasted to your al dente skin, hugging the twists and turns of your oh so voluptuous wiggle. I want to be the whipped cream in your chocolate eclair, a tube of jingled sweetness on your inside, ready to burst on dulcified tongue of smack and licked encircled savor. I want to be the rubbery nose of your big black lab, nuzzling your bouncing breasts and nudging your crotch with a playful snout, though naked, innocent of the world of clothes. I want to be the fur of the purring Siamese in your lap, a rumble of contentment and vibration, of warmth and ease, of knowing, connection, and sure relaxation, of being for being, pleasing to please. I want to be the hole in the pocket of your favorite jeans. Ah, the steak you would only regret fixing. An insatiable appetite that keeps on tickling from a denim comfort that has long caressed. Thanks.
Damn. Well, I'm not going to tell anybody to clap again because that was fantastic, and it was like, yeah, clap again! Clap again! Clap for Terry Provost again! Thank you very much, Terry. Thanks for coming out. Your voice was getting stronger as you read. I thought so.